Several East Texas school districts have cut ties with the school photography company. The reason? A past executive was named in the Jeffrey Epstein files.
KLTV7's JD Conti has reaction tonight from parents and how school districts are responding.
It's insane that I have to be concerned about pedophiles in my child's yearbook.
In the pickup line at Malakoff Elementary, parents are reacting after an unexpected set of events.
I expect the teachers and administrators to be their parents away from home, and in my opinion, canceling that contract is looking out for their best interest.
Jacob Bush is talking about LifeTouch, the school photography company. A past CEO for the private equity firm who owned LifeTouch was recently named in the Epstein files. In a statement, the company's current CEO said in part, LifeTouch is not named in the Epstein files. The documents contain no allegations that LifeTouch itself was involved in or that student photos were used in any illicit activities.
If your name pops up next to his name, that it's a little taboo, and especially as far as kids are concerned, I think.
As of this afternoon, several East Texas districts, including Van, Malakoff, Athens, Crossroads, Winsboro, and Kemp, have canceled their LifeTouch contracts.
That was a huge relief to me because it shouldn't be a concern.
Some districts have said photography will now be in-house, an idea supported by the parents we spoke to.
Find some parents in the district that take pictures.
My child is being handled responsibly by responsible adults that want what's best for my kid and not some creep.
JD Conti, KLTV7 News.
Now, to see the full list of school districts that have taken action regarding LifeTouch, you can scan the QR code you see on your screen or go to kltv.com, and you saw it right there. Click on the big red box.